Hello and welcome to Tabletop for One. Today I'm introducing you to a new series of videos I'm calling How to Mod Your Board Games, that is, modify. I've heard from a lot of people on social media and on Board Game Geek forums how they've enjoyed their games, but some of the games get too repetitive or don't have enough variability in the end, or they've solved the puzzle, or they've basically been done with the game. They like the game, but they just don't see any reason to play it anymore or as often. I've heard some of these critiques about one of my favorite games of all time, and that's Terraforming Mars, which you see in front of you here. And Terraforming Mars is an engine building game by Jacob Fryxelius. Sorry, Jacob, I botched your name. But anyways, it's a great game. Love this game. I have the Ares Expedition. I backed the dice game. Love everything about these games. But there have been some complaints about the solo mode. I mean, it's a beat your high score, so not everybody likes those kinds of games. It can go on too long, some people say, which I suppose it can. It doesn't take me more than an hour to play, but I could see where it could take a little bit longer. The cards don't get cycled enough, or the milestones don't get used. I heard that was a thing. The milestones and the awards don't get used. So I come to you with my top 5 ways to modify this game. Now I know some people will say, well, that's just making house rules. Yes and no. I mean, this is akin to making your own mini expansions. I would view it. I mean, some of this would be more on the style of variant. The first 2 are more of a variant thing, but I mean, you could do this as a package deal of a modular way to play your solo Terraforming Mars. But either way, please don't discount this just because it sounds like house rules. You know, the games are designed for you to have fun, and if you stop having fun at this point, why not take what you've invested time and money and everything into and modify it so that you enjoy it again? So here are some ideas that I have for you. So first off, number 1 is the draft. So a common critique is that during the card draw in the solo mode, you just don't see that many cards. The deck is rather large, and you don't get through the deck to get to the cards you might want. This is very true. I want to say that all the cards are unique, and there's a couple hundred of them or so. In the main rules, there is a draft for the multiplayer mode, and there's no reason why you couldn't do that for the solo mode. You just had to do it differently. So I have 2 ideas for you. First of all, you could draw 4 and then keep 2. And you do that twice, and that's going to end up with the 4 cards that you get during the draw phase. Or you could draw 3 and keep 1, and you're going to do that 4 times. And that will also get you the 4 cards you need. The draw 3 is going to help you see more cards, but you might pass up cards that you want. So the draw 4, discard 2 gives you a little more choice, I think, in that matter. And so the next option, number 2, is the market. So you know how some games have a market, right? That you can buy cards from. Well, in Terraforming Mars, when you draw the cards, you choose, 4 cards. Choose from the 4 cards which to keep, and they cost you 3 credits each. While that is good, you may not always want what's there, and you may not even buy any card because it's not worth it and not something you want. So I have an idea for you. So what if you have the deck, laid out, and you go ahead and draw 6 cards, okay? 1, 2, here, I'm going to get this out of the way. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118, 119, 120, 121, 122, 1 and 6. All right. And what you could do is you could price these out instead. So the first 4 would be 3 credits each like normal. So this would be your standard 4 that you get to choose from. However, this adds 2 more to it, and all you have to do is just increase the cost. Make this 4 and 5, or 5 and 7. Something to offset the fact that you're getting an extra choice, but it costs you more to go for those cards. And then once you're done making your choices, let's say I bought these 3 here and I paid whatever it costs there. Then you discard the rest and they're gone. Then when it comes to the next draw phase, you draw the next 6. Okay? Now, you do have the option, if you want to further play with this mod to the game, is that you could, in fact, draw these ahead of time and place them out there. It gives you an idea of something to work for, or to look forward to, or plan for. It gives you a little more of the planning. Now that, of course, is going to give you more information than you normally have in the game. It'll give you a little bit of an unfair advantage towards the goals. But at the same time, it might speed up the game a little bit because you get to plan things a little bit better. Plan for resources, card costs, that sort of thing. Or it might slow it down if you're prone to analysis paralysis and you're holding a hand of cards and looking at these 6 cards. But it's just a minor option. I do, however, recommend the market. It gives you a 6 card choice to choose from during the card draw phase instead of a 4 card choice, as well as offsetting that advantage of looking at 6 cards by increasing the cost of the cards. So let's move on. I have number 3, the goals. So the milestones, right, don't get used at all in the solo mode. So you have this list of milestones here that nobody's going to see used in solo mode, and you can't really try and utilize them. I mean, I guess you could say you need to have a goal of making 3 cities or 3 plants. I mean, trust me, I'm going to be making a lot more than that in the solo mode. However, you could just do something different. So let's say that you wanted to have, well, you do have the builder thing. So maybe go for a goal of a certain amount of builder tags. So a certain amount of the steel tags, right? Or you could have, gotta have 5 science tags. You can get those all out there, right? But I think what would be another interesting option in that regard is to have a goal of having a microbe or animal producing card have a certain amount of microbes on the card at the end of the game. Say like 6, or a combination between multiple cards. And you could have these specific goals that they don't earn you points, but it's an added goal that you must go for, just like your Terraforming Mars, trying to get the temperature up, the oxygen, all the water out. Well, now you also need to produce a certain amount of animals or microbes. Or you need to have a certain amount of steel operation or titanium operation on the board. All right, so that was number 3, the goals. It's very easy to implement, and you just do this on your own. You don't need to print anything out. You can just write it on a note of paper. This is my goal for the game. It gives you an extra challenge. Okay, so we're moving on to scenarios. All right, so the scenarios I have in mind, or I have 2 in mind, and you can add to them. So this one I call the Tri-Cities scenario. So you're going to take 3, instead of the normal setup in solo mode where you got to put 2 random cities out on the board with 2 random forests around the cities, you're going to start with 3 cities on the board right in the middle here, okay? And from here, you're going to need to build forests around the entire city. And you can say, well, that's not too hard. It is when you factor in the point goals of the solo game where you're supposed to get to, Terraforming rating 63. I believe it is. And I always forget what it is because I always pass it on my own, because I plan my own cities with my own force around them, scoring lots of points. Well, you're not going to own these 3 cities, and you got to build these in order to win. And on top of that, you got to reach that goal on the terraforming rating. So this gives you a little extra challenge. You're going to have to produce more forests in this fashion right here, as well as try and get your cities out there to score you lots of points. Yeah, it's quite a bit more challenging. It's doable, but it's very challenging. It definitely gives you some extra work to do on that, and goals to go for. The other scenario is more of a fun one. So this one adds cards to your hand, and what it involves is the special tiles. You know, those cities, or the the nuclear explosion. What are the other ones? The strip mining process. Sorry, I'm trying to find some of the cards here. My cards. Or like the Capitol here. So the Capitol has one of the special tiles here. And let's see. There's one. And there's more. So what you would do is you would start out with 4 of these tiles, or these cards, in your hand. And the goal would be to put these tiles out on the board by the end of the game. So you have to build them. So think of like some of the goals in It's a Wonderful World, where you start out with certain cards in your hand, and you got to have those cards built by the end of the game, or in your construction area, and have those built. Same thing here. You start out with these in your hand, on top of the 4 cards that you, or on top of your starting hand, but you start out with these in your hand. You got to build them by the end of the game. It's not always advantageous to build those. Sometimes they're a waste of time. But, you know, as an added scenario for this game in a solo mode, you can add these to your hand, or you find them all, randomize them, draw 4, shuffle the rest into your deck before you draw for the rest of the game. And that'll just give you something new to work towards and plan towards, and extra goals to try and complete. And as you can see, a lot of these have the tags that I talked about in the goals section, so they could also contribute towards that if you wanted to combine my number 3 and number 4 together. All right, so last one's a fun one. Now this one's going to speed up the game. And so number 5 is the technology bonuses. So the way the technology bonuses work is that as you play cards, you know, the green and the blue cards, you have the tags that come out, right? So what I thought was, well, since you're getting so many of one particular tag, why not make it so that those tags also provide bonuses at a certain threshold? All right, so for instance, let's say that you have 4 of the building tags. Well, considering that's tied to steel production, I would say once you have 4 building tags, or for every 4 building tags, you gain 1 steel production. For every 4 power tags, you gain 1 heat production. And the idea there is, of course, is you're generating electricity and power and all that it causes heat production naturally. For science tags, as you're researching things and learning new scientific procedures and exploring the science of the planet and all that stuff, so why not increase your knowledge by drawing cards? And so with the science tags, it's on the 3rd science tag, gain a card. And every science tag you gain after that, gain a card for each of those. it'll help with your card draw and expand your options there, and it just reflects the idea that you're researching and expanding in that way. Another one is the titanium. Works just like the building tags, except the titanium would be every 3 titanium getting titanium production. And you have this wild one here, so why not use the wild one as one of the ones you choose, you know? So that would count towards that titanium if I chose titanium on that wild tag. You have the plant tags. So even though the plant tags already grant a lot of plant production, and why not have it naturally cause more plant production based on how many tags you have? So for every 4 plant tags, you increase the plant production by 1. So the idea behind this comes from inspiration from the Ares Expedition, because in the Ares Expedition there are some cards that cause you to gain bonuses based on how many building tags or titanium tags you have or whatever. But on top of that, it's to help speed up the game. So for those who found the game to be too long, or didn't like the way the engine ramped up, this will help bump that engine just a little bit more. It'll nudge it a little bit more. One production doesn't necessarily mean a lot in the end, but it can. And it just adds that added extra combo nature of, all right, now I play this, and now I get another production. Now I'm able to play another plant tile next turn and do this and that. And so that was the idea behind it. And I actually like this one a lot. It just adds a little more meaning to playing all these cards, because sometimes you play all these cards and you have like these, like for me, I have like these columns of all these cards I've played, and they don't always mean anything in the end other than when they were played. Now this gives you something else that can add meaning to their existence on your tableau. All right, that wraps it up for number 5, the technology bonuses. So I hope this gives you some ideas on how to modify your Terraforming Mars experience in the solo game. I really like all these options. It changes up the game again a bit, but I really like the base game. So I can go both ways on it. But maybe this is what propels you to reinvest some time in the game and to return to the game and try out something different. And see if this renews your interest in Terraforming Mars, or gives you ideas to try out something else. Maybe you come up with your own scenarios. Maybe you already have. I bet you some of you have already done this. Changed the way, made little variants or little house rules or whatever to improve your gaming experience. So why don't you tell me what those are in the comments below? Otherwise, tell me after you've tried these out what you thought of them. These aren't balanced. They do change the game in ways that wasn't intended by the designer, and it's not to say the design was bad. I love the design. I think Terraforming Mars is like a 9.5 out of 10, and that half that's missing is really the production. But other than that, this game is excellent. And so my ideas for modifying the game are not a critique on the design. But really, I want you to enjoy your games like I enjoy my games. And I want to share this hobby with you, and these are ways that perhaps they can help you enjoy the game a little bit more. Well, that's all I have for this one. Let me know what you think of this new series. I have many games that I would like to show you how to modify. Feel free to like and subscribe below. And I really appreciate you watching Tabletop for One. Have a great night.